Have you ever heard the phrase, those who pay attention? Those who pay attention. I'm not saying this out of like calling people out or anything. It's actually just out of a place of love and recognition and hope for your highest future, your highest potential. I want to start with a story. So when I got into marketing, I was really cheap. I was really like, I signed up for all the free emails. I was reading everybody's free, and it was like the heyday. Like Clayton Makepeace was writing, Gary Halbert was writing, Dan Kennedy had a bunch of stuff that he was putting out. Gary Benzavinga was putting his stuff out. Perry Marshall putting out a ton of stuff, like Ken McCarthy putting out all his stuff related to the System Seminar. All these people who were like the greats of the pre-internet era of direct marketing, bringing all of their knowledge onto the internet and making it so that we could benefit from decades of direct response knowledge, wisdom, experience, insights, perspectives, etc. And I was fairly young and fairly broke, and I basically, I was just eating up everything that I could, recognizing, hey, this is super valuable information. And honestly, I was paying attention. And I did get a job in marketing, and I was applying what I learned, and I was doing a lot of things that were actually really successful. But at the same time, when I discovered copywriting in 2005, I knew that my destiny was to go off and start my own business and not be working as an employee for somebody else, 40 hours a week, you know the drill. And yet I also knew in the short term that my only path forward to make sure that my bills were paid and my family was taken care of was that I had to get a job. And so in 2005, I did get a marketing job, and I was paying attention to all of the all of the free content that I could get my hands on. And I was buying some books and stuff, and I was doing a little bit of investing in myself. And I had this dream, this destiny that I saw in my head of like, hey, I'm going to become a full-time freelance copywriter, or be somebody who works for myself, doesn't work for other people. And so 2005 goes by, and I'm having some success, but I'm not making any big investments in myself, and I'm not becoming a freelance copywriter. 2006 goes by, I'm having some success, but I'm not making any big investments in myself and not becoming a freelance copywriter. 2007, largely the same story, although I did kind of put out some feelers and I got some early copywriting work. 2008, 2009, towards the end of 2009, I realized, hey, if I'm going to take this seriously, I better take this seriously, because at that time I was 4 years deep into this marketing career, where from the beginning I was sure that I wasn't going to work a full-time job for somebody else. And the whole time I'd been working a full-time job for somebody else. And the other thing was, like, inside that full-time job, even though it was a great job and there were a lot of perks, like, I was not fully able to dive into the direct response stuff that I really wanted to do. And so here I am, like 4 years in, and I'm not investing in myself, and I'm not getting the kind of success that I want. And so I had heard year after year about AWAI's boot camp, and I said, this is something that I know that the best clients are there, the best copywriters are going to speak. Like many of the people that I learned from, they're putting stuff there, and so I figured, okay, if I'm there, maybe that will be what it takes for me to finally launch my freelance career, because all these people there are freelance copywriters and they're working in direct response, and like that's what I want to do, that's who I want to be. But I hadn't taken any big leaps of faith or made any big investments in myself to actually move forward. And, I was getting frustrated like a lot of people do year after year of feeling like, yeah, I'm making some progress, but it's really like I don't see myself getting close to the destination that I'm looking for. And I figured if nothing else, if I invest in myself and make a commitment to myself to make this investment pay back, not just the 100% like return on investment by making it pay back with an initial thing, but how can I turn this into like 10x or 100x what I actually have to spend to go down there? And so I calculated out all the costs like flights and hotels and the cost of going to the event itself and all of that. And I made a spreadsheet. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, geez, that's a huge investment. That's a big investment. I'm uncomfortable because I've never made an investment like that in myself. And, it was a couple $1,000s. And it was a tough decision to make. But then I decided like, hey, am I serious about this? Am I serious enough about this to invest in myself? And I decided that I was. I decided, okay, if this is what it's going to take for me to become a full-time freelancer, then I better pay. I better invest in myself. And then I had to convince my wife. So I actually wrote my thoughts down because as a writer, I'm often better at putting my thoughts together in writing than I am at putting them together in speech, although that's changed with more practice. So I wrote my thoughts down. And then I sent it to her. And the first thing she asks is, did you just write me a sales letter to like get my buy-in to go to this conference? And I realized kind of sheepishly that, yeah, I just wrote you a sales letter to go to this conference on writing sales letters. And she kind of laughed at it. And then we talked about it. And I talked about how this was not just an expense, but it was an investment that I was making in launching my freelance career. And we knew that like in the next year, we were going to be moving across the country. And I didn't have the option to keep my job. And so I had to figure it out, right? I had to figure out how am I going to make this work? And I knew that when we moved, I didn't want to just start another job. Like that would be a bigger failure than the 4 years where I didn't start the job that I wanted. So moving forward, I wrote the sales letter. We had a conversation. She agreed, and I invested in myself. I bought the tickets. I went to AWI's bootcamp, and I remember because I actually wrote the sales letter the next year for AWI's bootcamp for everybody to go. I remember that 3 months and 3 days later, after I'd made this big, uncomfortable investment in myself, 3 months and 3 days later, I officially launched my copywriting career. And I mean, at that point, in order for all those things to line up, I had to really like double down and start attracting clients and start having conversations and scheduling projects and all of that. And everything did line up, and I was busy as heck starting 3 months and 3 days after getting home from AWI's bootcamp in 2009. And that's when I launched my full-time business as a copywriter and marketing consultant. And I really have not looked back since then. And really, I think that although there was a lot that I can point to as the different elements that made me successful from that point forward, one of the biggest things that I recognized was by paying, I was paying attention on a whole new level. It wasn't just like, this is all this free content that I can listen to entertain me. It was every time I'm paying for education, for opportunities like this, I am investing in myself. And I feel a sense of responsibility to myself to make that pay off. And so I do give it a whole new style of attention where I'm focused on how can I make this really make money for me. And so I think that, it's very easy early on to think, hey, I'm I don't have a lot of budget to invest in educational resources or opportunities to show up places or things like that. And yet, when you do actually make those investments, what will often end up happening is it will create a brand new momentum. Now, I'm not telling you to just go spend your money willy-nilly or in completely irresponsible ways. Of course, you want to make sure your bills are paid and so on. But there is something to be said for the momentum that you force yourself into creating after you invest in yourself. And the way that you force yourself into creating that momentum is by showing up and using what you have invested in. And it only comes when you first make that decision to make an investment in yourself. And honestly, like in the last couple months even, I'm seeing this principle apply in different ways. I have a tech firm that I have hired who is helping me deal with some website stuff, and I'm feeling way more motivation to make all that stuff pay off. And I have somebody who's helping me with publishing activities that normally I would do but aren't like the highest and best use of my time. And I notice myself working faster and seizing more opportunities because of it. And the funny thing is, like, even as I'm investing in myself, it feels like opportunities are showing up in abundance to more than offset these additional investments that I'm making. And the more that I've done this, the more that I realize, like, that often happens to me. And I don't know if it happens to everybody else, but it happens to me, where if I'm making a smart investment, it's like the universe tells me, hey, you're doing the right thing, keep doing it. And it does, and it delivers that message through opportunities just showing up. Yeah, so those who pay attention. And that has so many applications, but those are just a few. I don't know. What do you think? Leave a comment with this video. Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10 how valuable you found this and why. What are your big takeaways or action items? How might you invest in yourself going forward? Also, tap that like button before you go so you get more content like this delivered to you. And so the magical algorithms of the internet will know to share it with more people like you who will find it valuable. You can certainly share it with folks directly. And subscribe before you go. You can subscribe here. You can also go to breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com, get my daily emails Monday through Friday, including these video episodes and more exclusive content for email subscribers. And if you want to download all of the knowledge and information and insights and perspectives and methodologies that I've picked up over the last 15 plus years in direct response marketing, including things that I've learned by investing in myself and then gone out and applied and learned even better because I used it and learned from the marketplace what worked and what didn't. You should absolutely invest in my BTMS Insiders training library membership. It's like Netflix, but for copywriting and marketing training. I'll include a link with this video where you can check that out so you can get access to everything for one low monthly fee. My name is Roy Furr. This has been a video issue of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Always aim for 10 out of 10 value. I hope that this lesson has delivered that, and I look forward to seeing you again in your next episode. See you soon. Bye.